In this video then guys, we shall be taking a look at the 2012 action comedy 21 Jump Street. So without further ado, let's get into today's review. So I thought then that this movie was probably arguably one of the best cop movies of all time. And I think that is simply because it defined a decade, as this was one of the biggest movies of the 10s. It had some great moments in there which are now memes. They had good actors in there. It was funny, it was hilarious, it had action, it was entertaining. It had everything you want from a comedy cop movie, and I think that there's not many better, and I think they really pulled this off. I think it was a great way to bring back this iconic thing of Jump Street from the 80s and turn it into a movie, and I think that really worked in such a way where it is now defined as one of the greatest comedy movies of all time. Whilst we're on the topic of the 80s Jump Street, I think that it was great to see Johnny Depp and a few of the other familiar faces from the old 80s TV show Jump Street. I've never really watched it before, but I know Johnny Depp was in it, and it was great to see him be given sort of a thing going, oh, here's your cameo of, because basically he was given that cameo basically as a reminder of where this used to be and now where they're going to take it, and I think that was really good, and it was a great nod in my personal opinion. Moving on, I thought that the idea of Mr. Walters being the supplier was very good and was very unexpected, as to me he was a teacher like everyone else. He was a bit weird obviously, but he didn't really jump out to me anyway as a being behind it all, and I thought it was very creative how they did that, and I thought that he was the perfect sort of supplier, as he was sort of in the background most of the time, doing the day work, probably just being in the school just to supply the drugs, and I think that was very interesting. Didn't really expect that. On Jenko and Schmidt, I love their character development throughout this movie, and I think it really elevates this movie to a different level, as we see how they hated each other at school. Well, didn't really talk to each other. One was a nerd, one was really cool, and I loved how when they get through the academy of the policing, when they bump into each other, they help each other out because they realise each other's strengths and weaknesses, and then they pass, and then they're good as a partnership and have good chemistry. Although I think it was great how when they went undercover in the Jump Street division and how the roles switch. I love how Jenko was now a nerd and loved how Schmidt was now a cool kid. And it was like roles reversed, and everything Jenko knew at school and how to be cool, it was the complete opposite to how it is nowadays. And I thought that was really interesting, as it showed that times can change from when they used to be at school to now being undercover. And I think that was very interesting and really showed the funny elements of this movie, as it was funny to see how Jenko would react being a nerd this time to being a cool kid. And same with Schmidt never being cool before, never getting the girl's attention, and now getting it all. I think that was very interesting, and I think it just worked a treat. On Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill, I thought they had unbelievable on-screen chemistry, and I think that they actually made this movie what it was. I think if they had been replaced by anybody else, it wouldn't have been the same, and I think they really had good comedy between the pair of them, and I think that they really turned themselves into memes, and I think this is how Channing Tatum really got his stardom. Jonah Hill had already been in several movies beforehand, but I think it really elevated the pair up to a different level and really helped get some big roles later down the line, especially Channing Tatum, who was in Kingsman 2, and that's probably his biggest role to date. But yeah, he's been in some big movies since, and Jonah Hill's been in a fair few since Jump Street and Jump Street 2, obviously, 22, which we'll get on to later down the line. I also thought it was great seeing the likes of Ice Cube, Brie Larson, the likes of Franco, Riggle, Dax Flame, the likes of Jake Johnson, Nick Offerman, just to name a few people, Johnny Depp, Deray Davis, Ellie Kemper, and even Spencer Boldman. I think there was a lot of big names here, and I loved Ice Cube in this movie. I think he was incredible. I loved Brie Larson in this movie. She really showed her potential as being a leading woman, as we see that later down the line she would become Captain Marvel, and did an incredible job becoming Captain Marvel. I'm not sure about the movie, but we'll get onto that another time. But yeah, I think that you could definitely see her potential. You saw several potentials in some of the other stars in this movie, And I think as a whole, this was just a brilliant comedy. To summarise this movie then, I think this movie was solid, and there's not much more to say about this movie other than it was absolutely amazing and did what it said on the tin, and it was hilariously funny. Hence why I rate this movie an 8.3 and a classic film. So let me know down in the comments down below what your thoughts are. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it great? Is it terrible? Let me know down in the comments down below, please. Also, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to be alerted to all the new content that this channel creates. And I shall see you guys in the next one. Bye.